Welcome to tonight's License Subcommittee meeting. My name is Councillor Mercy Ume. I will be chairing tonight's meeting. The meeting is being broadcast live on Council's YouTube channel. If I lose connection and cannot reconnect, Councillor Florence Chevede will take over for me. I would like to remind participants a few housekeeping points. Please keep your microphone muted unless you are speaking. Please keep your camera turned on when you speak at the hearing. Please note that the chat function has been disabled. If parties wish to add additional information other than their allocated time to speak, they must use the raise hand function so that they are not missed. I also ask members to keep their questions and comments brief to the point. I now move to item 1 on our agenda. Item 1, apologies for absence. None. Okay. Item 2, declaration of interest. Do members have any declaration of interest?
No, Chair.
No. Item 3, Charlotte's Cloud, Unit E, Distillery Wharf, Lagretta Lane, London West 69BF. I would like to ask every participant to introduce yourself as I call on you. We should have with us, I'm going to use the first name, Robert, the applicant and director, Fabio, the applicant and director, both of them here?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. I have Karen, the licensing officer. I have Emmanuel, the council legal officer. Then I have objecting, which is Tony. Tony, are you here?
I'm definitely here.
Thank you. Now, procedure. Before we consider the application tonight, I will confirm that in addition to the main agenda, a supplementary agenda was published on 12th of September, 2023. Please, may I quickly explain the procedure the committee will follow. We will hear from the following. The licensing officer will introduce the application, the resident in objection, finally the applicant. Usually, each party addresses the committee for maximum of 5 minutes. Following the presentation by all the parties, the committee may ask questions to any party or other person present at the hearing. Except committee members, no party has the right to ask questions to any other party at any time during the hearing. Following the presentation and questioning, each party will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to sum up their case, their representation or case. The committee will then retire for deliberation. Upon its return, I will announce committee's decision. Please keep your remarks as concise as possible. Presenting officer, can I ask the licensing officer, Karen, to introduce the application?
Yes, Chair. On the 24th of July 2023, Charlotte's Cloud Limited submitted an application for a new premises licence to be granted for Charlotte's Cloud Unit E Distillery Wharf, Regatta Lane, W6. Based on the application, the premises intends to operate as an all-day brunch cafe restaurant and also provide deliveries and takeaway. The applicant had applied for the sale of alcohol both on and off the premises, Mondays to Sundays, 7:30 till 2300, with the opening hours being Mondays to Sundays, 6:30 till 2300. On the 9th of August, following correspondence received from the police, the applicant agreed to amend the hours for the sale of alcohol on the premises to Mondays to Sundays, 10 to 2300, and to add 13 further conditions to the licence if it is granted. The agreed conditions are in relation to CCTV, staff training, a Challenge 25 policy, keeping a refusals and incident log, training in responding to the welfare and safeguarding of vulnerable patrons, alcohol for consumption off the premises to be sold in sealed containers, deliveries being made to residential business addresses, and football match conditions. The licensing section received 7 representations objecting to the licence applications. These were made up of 1 from the Noise and Nuisance team, 1 on behalf of the Fulham Reach Residents Association, and 5 local residents objecting to the application. The licensing section also received comments from the planning team and 3 comments of support from local residents. On the 8th of September, the noise and nuisance team withdrew their representation following agreement to the following condition. The external seating area shall not be used by customers between 2100 and 8 Sundays, Thursdays, including bank holidays, or between 2200 and 8 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. Following this agreement, the Fulham Reach Residents Association also withdrew their representation. I can confirm the supplementary agenda was published on the 12th of September and was circulated to all parties this morning, and that the application was advertised in alignment with the regulations of the Act.
Thank you, Karen. Can I ask now the resident, Tony, to also objecting to have 5 minutes to speak to us?
You're very harsh, Mercy. Only 5 minutes. You know me from the past, but I will keep it brief. So firstly, welcome to Robert and Fabian, who hopefully, and I do hope that Charlotte's Cloud will be a success in Fulham Reach. It's the same, I think it's the same operation which runs a cafe in Chelsea, if I'm not mistaken. And that, so part of my concern was I thought this was a coffee house. It's not, it would seem to be a cafeteria, but it looks like it's a bit more of a wine bar. So although it looks quite a pleasant operation, I don't think it's necessarily family run. And I don't believe, I'm not sure that we actually have a Charlotte anywhere, but it looks quite pleasant. What concerns me is obviously the majority of people who take alcohol with their breakfast or brunch or whatever are not a problem, but it's not the majority, it's the minority. And the modus operandi at Chelsea seems to be a little bit potentially problematic. So in addition to selling wine, which is understandable, you also sell their cocktails. You've got the whole range of cocktails and spirits. And more worryingly, you've got happy hour cocktails, buy one, get the same again, which is a sort of worrying sort of approach. And worse than that, you've got this bottomless, free-flowing bubbles to your brunch for 2 hours. So as much alcohol as you can drink for £20 for 2 hours. Now, I'm not sure that would be sensible in a residential area like Fulham Reach. So I'm still concerned. I'm still concerned about making alcohol available in that location in that way. There have been some small numbers of noisy alcohol-related incidents there since Fulham Reach was built 10 years ago. And the police will always tell you that alcohol is a factor in more than half of all antisocial behaviour and crime incidents in the borough, if not across London. So it needs to be carefully controlled. So in summary, I'm still really quite concerned about another outlet for alcohol in that area, which is very residential, especially with this approach for, you know, all the champagne you can drink. Which I think is quite risky in that area. So I would finish with a couple of questions that aren't clear to me. So how would Robert and Fabian manage any problematic drinkers? So if they get people, do they have a policy or procedure for people who have indulging in their bottomless bubbles and start to represent a problem? And where is the borderline? Again, bearing in mind that there are people there who may be trying to get a lie-in on a Sunday morning or even a Saturday morning or any other morning, and you're opening fairly early and staying open till quite late. How would you handle people who've clearly had enough? And the second question is, what are you bound by the same restrictions in terms of noise and disturbance as all the residents in that block, where essentially you have to not disturb anybody with your noise during the day and actually issue no noise at all in the hours of darkness? Are you bound by similar sorts of restrictions, and how will you approach those? And last but not least, you've agreed to restrictions on use of the seating overnight between 11 at night and 7 the following morning. How are you going to do that? I don't think you're going to be there overnight. So I think it's nice to see you moving in. It would be good to have an outlet there, but my concerns about free-flowing bubbles and yet more alcohol in that location still remain.
Thank you, Tony. Okay. Robert and Fabi, I don't know who is going to be speaking, because I'm allowing you equal 5 minutes because Tony spoke for 5 minutes. You are equal have 5 minutes to speak. So either one of you speak, then when it's time for conclusion, 3 minutes, the other one can speak. I don't know, it depends how you want to do it.
We can both speak.
Okay.
Thank you for everything, and thank you for allowing us this 5 minutes. I mean, we are a cafe with the restaurant offer, and the main thing for us is that we do serve food with potential alcohol, not alcohol with food. So, and once we've gone very honest with you, with the application, we completely understood that, you know, when you apply for something like that, you really try to somehow stretch it a bit. So we did maximum 6:30 to 11, with understanding that that will change. And once spoken to the police, I have to say Dan was amazing. He was really helpful, and equally James from Noises. And with understanding of the location, Fabio lives in the same building for 8 years already. So we completely understand. I live across the road on the other side of Hammersmith in Brackenbury Village. So we completely understand. We know Hammersmith and Fulham. We know the potential problems of alcohol and sales of it. And we have experience from Chelsea. Very honest with you, with Chelsea, alcohol sales are probably less than 5%, unfortunately. And we do think that it's literally impossible nowadays to run a business as our predecessors have here as Harrison Hall, with this rent, with these rates, with everything, and just on coffee and cakes is literally impossible. You cannot survive the environment. Therefore, food and drinks are very important for us, and that's why this and knowing the market and everything, and knowing the area, and knowing we really are in strong belief that such concept is extremely important for the area, and it will work. Otherwise, we wouldn't go through such extensive investments from our side. And understanding the premises license, understanding the sales of alcohol, understanding the area, respecting all licensing objectives. And I mean, we have experience. Just to answer one of the questions, well, how would we manage the problematic drinkers? We personally, I worked in the business for very long, and I'm from Slovenia, and Slovenia is big on booze. And we both experienced some intoxication within the guests, and we still receive phone calls from our employees. I think we should stop serving a person that comes in intoxicated, you know, and we are really strict on it, providing the staff training, as it was mentioned before, providing children from harm, the challenge 25. We are really strict on it, even now. And it hasn't happened in 2 years that we would have a serious problem by addressing someone on this levels with alcohol sales. Noise and disturbance. Like I said, Fabio lives here 8 years already. We know what we are bringing to the area. We know how we should operate in the area. We completely understand that everything. One of the mentions was the bins were concerned. I completely understand that. Yeah.
Robert, I have to stop you. I've given you, your 5 minutes is up.
Sorry.
So yeah, I have to stop you, and I'm going to ask the committee members to ask questions on what you have presented and what the officer have said and what we have had so far. So which member wants to go first? Okay, Councillor Stanton, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you to Tony and to the applicants. If I could ask, was it Fabio that was just speaking, or Robert?
Robert.
I didn't get the names right around. If you could perhaps just finish what you were just saying.
Regarding the noise and nuisance.
The 5 minutes is up, but I was going to say, if you could,
regarding the noise and nuisance,
people keep time, but if you could just complete what you were just saying, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just that as soon as you walk out of the shop, you completely understand how the operation should work. You know, so we are here for the resident, not just for us. We will not have business if we want to respect the residents and their environment. You know, like there was one note on one of the representations regarding the refusal between 8 to 8. Very honest with you, I somehow believe that I know where it comes from and what was the concern, because when I hear Tesco with the big trolleys throwing their bins down and it goes, I completely understand. We produce 2 bags so far. Hopefully that 2 bags become 6 and we go 4 times walking. But we completely understand that it's a noise issue for the residents, because we would, you know, in the morning when I come, the first thing I hear from is the loud alarm from Tesco's door, and I completely understand they're not happy. So why would we cause such, you know, because at the end of the day, we are here for the residents and we need to get them first. You know, because it's not a footfall as we would have in Kings Road. We are dependent on the area and on the people living here. So you don't want to upset anyone with any minor things, you know, or major things like.
Thank you. That's great. That's wonderful. Just so I can get, so the committee can get a better understanding of what your offering actually is. Mr. Boys mentioned kind of bottomless brunches and spirits. Can you just run us through what your offerings are likely to be? You know, will you be offering, or do you wish to offer bottomless brunches, etc.?
Yeah, so I can take this one.
Thank you.
Just so that I clarify also on the bottomless and everything. So it is true that we offer also cocktail, mainly Prosecco, wine, but we also have offering of cocktails and a bottomless brunch. Just to give an idea of the bottomless brunch, it costs £20 and including VAT, which means that for us it's only left about 15 pounds. Now, if a bottle of Prosecco is about £10, you understand that, like, for us, it wouldn't make sense if we experience that a customer drinks more than a bottle of Prosecco. So in our experience in Chelsea, we've been operating for 2.5 years. Even if you offer the bottomless brunch, the truth is that people just like to be relaxed and enjoy 2 glasses, maybe, you know, 3 glasses over 3 hours. If really people start drinking more than that, it will become unprofitable for us. It will become a loss for us to serve a customer for £15 more than 3 glasses of Prosecco. So if as I said, in 2 years and a half experience in Chelsea, nobody has ever drunk more than 3 glasses of Prosecco, 4 glasses of Prosecco, even having 2 hours to drink. Our experience is just people enjoying having the idea of bottomless brunch because it's relaxing and they don't have to count if they're spending they're buying 2 glasses or 3 glasses. And to be honest, we sell a glass of Prosecco for £7. So if someone thinks I'm going to drink, 2 glasses of Prosecco, it's already like I'm already there at the price of the bottomless. Should someone in Hammersmith, we don't even know for sure if we are making the same offering in here about the bottomless brunch anyway. But should we start the offering and should we experience that someone drinks more than 3 glasses of Prosecco and becoming an issue? We are the first one to, it will be in our interest to take off that offer because we will be losing money anyway. I also want to add the fact that, you can speak with the police or have any of the neighbor in our location in Hammersmith. In 2.5 years, we have never experienced any problem with anybody being drunk in Chelsea. Yeah. So and that's come from 2.5 experience of being there. For us, is more the alcohol. What is important as the sales of alcohol? The reason why it's important is because sometimes some people will choose the restaurant depending on the fact that they can also enjoy, for instance, a glass of Prosecco or a mimosa with the brunch. So for us, for instance, having some kitchen which has pretty much the same offering of brunch right next door, they just opened 2 months ago and they offer exactly the same list of alcohol that we offer, we will be extremely in a disadvantage in terms of competition with them, because someone that has to decide having the same dishes, which is, for instance, an egg Benedict, but someone who, if a group of 4 or 5 people, even just one person would like to have a glass of Prosecco, those 5 people will choose some Riverside over us because one person wants to enjoy a glass of Prosecco. And that's the main reason why we want it. We don't expect to become a place where people come drinking, because if someone just wants to come drinking, we'll go to the pub next door, wouldn't come to a family cafe.
Okay, thank you. You're making me feel very hungry now. Chair, I don't have any further questions right now. I might have some more later, but I'll pass over to the other members of the committee for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy to go in.
Okay, please.
Thank you, Chair. I actually wanted to follow up on the questions of the member, which were around brunches. Brunches, I tend to understand, are around lunchtime, aren't they? What time is your offering in Chelsea for bottomless brunches?
What time? Yeah, the kitchen closes at 4 o'clock at the moment, so people can enjoy the 2 hour within up to maximum 4 o'clock, or let's say 5 o'clock if they come really late and the kitchen is closed and they arrive, let's say at 3:30, they will stay until 5:30.
And in your Chelsea space, do you have any record of people being too inebriated, being served alcohol? And if so, how did you remedy it with your staff?
No, so we never experienced any issue. And to be honest, let's say that if anybody comes being already a little bit drunk, we will not serve alcohol at all. If you think about it, we are not a pub. We don't expect to make money out of someone just drinking anyway. So for us, there will be no interest in disturbing other people's, other customer just to make an extra £15 out of 2 drinks. It's not, doesn't make any sense for us. So if we realize that someone comes in and it's already a little bit drunk, we will not serve him at all. We will tell him that I'm sorry, we cannot serve any alcohol. That's the way we approach that. Because again, for us, the core business would be is food. Alcohol help us to attract customers, because let's be honest, some people enjoy a glass of Prosecco while they have lunch, but you know that our core business is food anyway, so it will be in our interest to have someone drunk in the premises.
Yeah, thank you very much. I wanted to ask you still to the applicant, which is the question about the outdoor seating. So obviously you've agreed conditions to not have outdoor seatings at certain hours, which change. It's different during the week than during the weekends. I wanted to ask you, we have access to the map of your venue at Fulham Reach. Are you going to bring in the tables? How are you going to fit them upside down, or how are you going to?
It's in our head lease that we cannot leave any furniture outside anyway. Mm-hmm. So there's no intentions of leaving any furniture outside, and to be honest with you, we also can't afford it to be losing them. So it's very important for us that we bring them in. You know, the chairs are light, stackable, and even if you drop it, plastic, even if you drop it, you won't cause any noise. And tables are foldable. We just bring them in, bring them out every morning, every evening. So, and we're doing this now at 4 p.m., 4:30.
Yeah.
You know, so
okay.
It's not.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you. Another one from me, and then maybe we can go to someone else on the committee. But this one is to you, Karen. This is to ask you about generally. There's been a lot of movement with representation, so we know that people have come in, withdrawn, etc. Could you? Sorry to ask you that again, because you did do it, but for our understanding of. I'll say this and won't say any personal information, but we, the councillors, have access to the addresses, which gives us context. And but in terms of numbers, Karen, without giving any of that away, where are we in terms of people who've made representations for and against?
So originally there were 7 representations, including the Noise and Nuisance Officer and the Residents Association. In addition, there were also 3 comments of support. They were fine. I mean, of the representations, there were 7, of which 2 were withdrawn. So there are 5 resident representations that were upheld.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful. And the point about the planning, there's a consideration for a planning commission that has been discharged, and you, the licensing team, say that's fine.
Yeah, so the comment from planning was a comment. It wasn't an objection. It was for information.
Okay, and that is a comment that said there were certain conditions in the planning application for the building, but that is sorted out, basically.
Yeah, because it's dealt with by planning legislation, we are giving it for information, but not as an objection to the application because of the separation of the legislation.
Sounds good, thank you. Chair, do you maybe want to go to someone else or yourself? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Robert and Fabio, I'm still not clear about this happy hour or brunch with food you talked about. And does it mean it's together, or what time to what time? Because you said 4 to 4:30. Or so could you explain better for me to understand what you mean by happy hour or brunch, you know, with the food and the drinks? So could you explain for me to understand?
So in terms of bottomless brunch,
yes,
basically it just means that first of all, you cannot have a bottomless brunch. You cannot have the bottomless unless you're actually having food. So it's only for people who are actually sitting and having food. So it cannot be bought separately from food. At the moment in the Chelsea location, it starts in in the morning, like whenever you can start having breakfast, like having brunch, and the kitchen closes at 4 o'clock. So basically it's until like 5 o'clock maximum. And basically while you are having brunch, so while you are having food, you can, instead of paying the Prosecco by the glass, so instead of paying £7 for each glass of Prosecco, we do a fixed amount of £20 and we will refill basically the glass. But as I say, in our experience, people, since it's people that come for lunch, it's not people that come in for drink, it's only people that are actually having brunch, they never drink more than 3 glasses. So that's what's happening in our experience. And as I say, it wouldn't be profitable for us to even serve more than 3 glasses within the £20 budget that we are allowed for the.
So when will your happy hour start? So this brunch includes the happy hour.
Oh, no, the happy hour. I think what Mr. Boyce referred to, I think, is the happy hour which we have in the afternoon, which is only 2 hours between I think 4 and 6 o'clock. And what it is basically you can have the second, if you order, if 2 people order the same drink, the second one is half price.
Per person.
Yeah.
So one person, if you would want a drink, you can buy the second one for the half price. That's the is it? Huh?
Yeah. No, we also offer, like, if 2 people, basically, it's mostly is to incentivize people to get the same drink anyway, because it will be, it's also easier for us to serve.
The main thing is that it's the same drink, so you cannot it's to, how can I say, to promote you would come for a drink, and you would say, we noticed that because we close at 6 anyway, so from 4 to 6 we noticed that our sales are extremely low. So we said, to promote that, we would like to offer the second drink half price, but it needs to be immediately ordered. If you understand, it's like it's just a common promotion, as you would go to promote a meal deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you would promote a meal deal. However, within that 2 hours, it's almost impossible to drink both. So you don't have people coming in and ordering a whole a table of drinks, and then it's mainly to expect that you would be able to have it in a package instead of one, as a meal deal.
Okay. So let me get it clear. So with brunch, what time will the brunch finish? So all of them are included at the same time. That's what I want to get my head around. You're having brunch, you're having happy hour. So I can finish my brunch and say, can I have the happy hour? Is that?
No. The happy hours. So the bottomless brunch starts from the moment you sit in. So for instance, let's imagine someone sit in and say, we're having brunch. So someone order, whatever, order a dish, another one order a different dish. And if they say that they would like to have, a bottomless brunch with Prosecco, with mimosa, from that moment, the 2 hours starts. So what will happen is that while they wait for their food, they will start having a glass of Prosecco, for instance, then they will receive their food. And during that lunch, so while they're eating, they will just get a refill where they will be basically included in the £20 rather than paid by the glasses. So the 2 hours start from the moment basically they sit down. So usually it takes someone about an hour to receive the food and to finish. And they might stay for an additional glass of Prosecco while they have a dessert, for instance, and then they will leave at that point. So,
and you can't buy happy hour during that time. Happy hour is only to promote a particular time of the day as a happy hour.
Okay.
you know, just a particular time of the day, because we've noticed that, like, you would, example, now we are promoting early brunch. So if you come from 8 to 9 o'clock in the morning, we notice that our sales on food are, the people come for one granola bowl, you know, so which they spend £6 on it. So if we want to promote early brunch, we need to get the chef early in and have additional gap, because we see that we don't sell at that time, you know. It's all business oriented. It's not like, and even if people would already come intoxicated or something, we still respect, we respect all, like I said before, all licensing objectives, and we wouldn't serve them, you know. We are very strict on it.
Okay. Tony, I saw your hand up before, but before I ask you a question, you know, you cannot ask question to any of them. So my question to you is this: in terms of the happy hour and what you were saying before, they're going to have happy hour. What were you trying to say to us? We are saying to, what are you trying to say? Are you trying
so
to?
I think you picked it up very well, actually, Mercy. So operating as a cafe in a residential area with a nice breakfast and a relaxed night, great. However, the two aspects, this happy hour, which is where you get another cocktail for half price, and the bottomless brunch, which is 2 hours unlimited champagne, Prosecco, they say it doesn't make sense for them to give away more. You can't stop it. The guy's paid £20 for bottomless 2 hours of drinking all he can drink. You can't stop him. So I would suggest that, if possible, that those two should be excluded from the offering at Fulham Reach. It's just a recipe for trouble. And the guys very candidly, they told us they'd had some staff who'd called and said, look, we've got some problems. That, as I said earlier, most people, 95% of people aren't a problem with alcohol. It's the problem ones. So you need clear procedures, and we do get them occasionally. Fabio knows at Fulham Reach, you do get noisy drunks late at night. You know, it happens. So I haven't seen or haven't heard from them yet precisely what are their procedures for those few.
Tony,
that's it.
That's not your call to say haven't had that. I have committee member raise their hands. What would you like to say?
Thank you, Chair. Now, I wanted to thank you for going to the bottom of the question around the timings, etc. And I wanted to ask the applicant, sorry, we're on you a lot tonight. There's this for me to understand, right? So obviously we're talking about your Chelsea venue. We're not talking about the Fulham Reach venue. This doesn't operate yet as food, etc. That's what you would like in asking us. So if I come in for brunch being that kind of stuff, you coming around lunchtime, 11. So I'm coming in at 11. I have 2 hours unlimited Prosecco. Then I need to pretty much wait for another 3 hours to get to your happy hour, right? There's no bridge in between.
Not even 3 hours. You need to, from 11, the Chelsea has
be 1 o'clock,
5 to 6.
Yeah.
It's a happy hour.
Yeah, so basically
be,
when would you say that most of your customers come in? What time for your brunch?
10.
So yeah. It's from 10 o'clock in the morning until, I would say, 1 or 2 o'clock. There is between 2 and 4, obviously, we still have some late people coming. I think probably here will be a little bit different, but, you know, on King's Road, there is quite a lot of tourists. So, you know, you might get someone that comes at 3 o'clock because they've been shopping or they've been visiting museum and stuff. Here we expect, people to come quite early, like at 10 o'clock, and by 2 o'clock probably will be like the peak will be between 10 and 2. We don't expect many people probably coming between 2 and 4, anyway, less than King's Road.
And say that I come in at 2 p.m. for your unlimited brunch offer, but I'm smart. I'm not eating any of the food while smart, if you can call it that. I'm just enjoying I'm ruining you with Prosecco. to the point that I get too drunk to be served, you will stop serving me?
Yeah, so first of all, you wouldn't be able to get the 2-hour Prosecco unless you are eating. Yeah, we don't offer that. So you will have to be eating. Of course, if we get to the point where, you know, as I said, for us, if you consider out of 100 people, like, let's say 30 people sitting down, probably not even one will have the bottomless Prosecco. So we don't have any interest in, you know, in ruining the atmosphere for most of them, for like one drunk person. So should someone get to the point where it's like, has been, you know, disturbing other customers, we will stop serving Prosecco, stop serving alcohol, and ask him to leave the premises. As I say, it's not in our interest, considering what we are and what we offer, to, you know, make the £15 excluding plus VAT on one person that wants to get drunk.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you. I don't know if you wanted to continue, Chair.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Councillor. My question is, I've come for the lunch, for brunch, and I'm still eating, and I'm going to stay till the next happy hour. How will you get me? How will you tell me you're not going to serve me?
Okay, so let's imagine that someone comes, you know, the worst case scenario, someone comes at 2 o'clock and has the bottomless brunch. At the end of the 2 hour, you know, you will have 1 hour to wait for the happy hour. If we notice that that person had too much to drink, we have no interest in having that customer to lay around here for another hour to keep drinking. We will say, we're really sorry, you have been already had too much to drink. We cannot serve you alcohol anymore. As Robert was mentioning, like the offer of the happy hour is mostly just because obviously it's 2 quiet hours during the day. We still have to pay, you know, probably 2 people to, you know, finish it, cleaning up and closing down and doing all the rest, getting ready for the next day. So for us, it's good to have, you know, few customers spending a little bit of money on you know, on a couple of cocktails. But again, there is no interest in us in having people keep, you know, drinking and stay around. It's just so that those 2 quiet hours during the day, we have some extra sales.
And very honest with you, you can see Fabio is very financially oriented. Well, that's his background. Operationally, to ask a person that, or to how can I say, just to advise the person that they won't be able to get any more alcohol if we assess that it's not as difficult as you would think, because at the end of the day, it's against the law. So we can easily call the police if they don't want to be, if you would come and really didn't want to leave the premises, being extremely intoxicated or abusive or whatever. Then if we refuse the service, at the end of the day, it's our business, so we can, and our right to refuse the service. So it's not as difficult as you would think, just to refuse the service and leave let the guests. And then you do face other problems when they leave and find Google and TripAdvisors and everything to hurt your business. But you've gained much more asking one person to leave the premises and keeping 30 in, even like Fabio, from his perspective, as he looks at it financially. But
okay, I have committee member, Councillor, please ask your question.
Thank you, Chair. As a 2-part question, I think we've heard about the brunch. We've gone around it. We've got 2 people in front of us who don't just live locally, but also seem to understand from operating a business, more or less in the area. So I was going to move on from that topic, because I think kind of gone around it. Did anyone else want to raise that, or? Okay, just move on to outdoor seating area.
No, I'm sorry. If you have any question, you can ask.
Yeah.
My question, I haven't finished what I needed to ask. In terms of employment, how many staff do you have? How many staff do you have?
Between both location or just this one?
The new one you're opening. Are you going to take, so how many staff have you got there?
So at the moment, it's quite flexible because some of the people that work in King's Road also work here. So we are people who work for us, since the two locations are very close, it's only like, 15, 20 minutes bus ride. Our employers have been quite flexible, and so in total we have, I think, 2 per shift, 12 people on payroll at the moment, and okay. We are at the moment we are hiring more, and those 12 people basically split the shift between Hammersmith and King's Road.
Otherwise, 2 people per shift. Two people per shift, 1 front of house, 1 kitchen.
Okay.
Currently.
So in terms of somebody minding the, have you got training for serving alcohol? Have any? Yeah. Okay, you have.
We include Challenge 25. We include in our starter pack. We have a starter pack that we send. We sit down with members of staff, which includes everything. It includes allergens, it includes health and safety, and it includes Challenge 25.
Yeah, why I'm asking this, because the one you have in Fulham, you don't in King Street, you don't do alcohol there. So that's why I'm asking whether you have a trained somebody that can do the alcohol.
No, we serve alcohol there, and we have we in Chelsea, in King's Road, we serve alcohol there. It's a different council. It's Kensington, Chelsea, and we do serve alcohol there already for 2 years. That's why we are bringing that we know what we are getting ourselves into, because we have that experience, and all the members of staff are trained on that. That's why I said that they are all aware should they need any kind of support. Even here, it's a bit easier because we have in the evening just now security passed, so you can still ask for assistance from the security of Fulham Reach themselves, and that's it's much easier than even in Chelsea. We have within the BID, our landlords have agreed on my local Bobby support, and they are constantly there. They're constantly around. We have a WhatsApp group. If there would be, so far we didn't have any alcohol problems, but we had thefts. That's why we use them. My local Bobby, and here most probably, if we are not available, they would be probably, if not police, the first address to ask for help. There would be a local security of Fulham Reach.
Okay. In terms, do you have a door supervisor?
We don't. So far, we don't have a door supervisor because we don't require one. And at the end of the day, we are a restaurant. Me myself, I'm very much involved in every single part of the operation, front of house, back of house, and I'm a designated premises supervisor, and I'm non-stop here anyway.
Can I ask something? Which of you will be in Fulham Reach? Will 2 of you be in Fulham Reach? or one of you in Fulham, one in Fulham Ridge?
We are between both. If I'm not here, Fabio is here. If Fabio is not here, I'm there. So it's now we're really focused until we are fully up and running and fully trained, and staff is trained on literally every single part of the business. Then we are both here. And then most probably we will fluctuate a bit.
Okay. In terms of entertainment, are you having any entertainment there?
No, so far just background music. We did see one representation in that we are promoting jazz. That we are promoting jazz events. Yes. Already, and very honest with you, it's a bit funny because there was a lady when we opened asked to see if we have any community boards in the local cafe, and I said, you know what, we don't have the board yet. I would love to have a pinboard or something in the beginning when you enter, but we have a small cupboard. I said, just leave it there and what it is, and she left the jazz event promo for Riverside Studios. And we have the same, and then this actually costed us representation, which is very unfortunate. But I said I will keep the flyer here. Okay. It was, but we really wanted to support them as well, because we really like Riverside Studios. Even I take my kid, my small one, to the theater there.
Thank you. And, yeah.
But it costed us representation, which is a bit sad.
Yeah. In terms of delivery, how are you going to do the delivery? Are you going to have Deliveroo or which other one do you have?
Yeah, we will try. Most probably we will. I'm sorry to interrupt, but most probably we will use all three. We don't know yet how to what extent they will go. But we are very fortunate with the location of the door that actually the driver that parks in front of all the drivers when they deliver, it's exactly the same spot for them to collect. And it's literally, we are extremely fortunate because they don't need to come in, they don't need to come out, but when they park at the ramp, because the Fulham Ridge has a ramp literally 5 meters in front of our door. So to collect that is very good. I mean, in Chelsea it's different because it's literally they stop in front of the shop because it's on a high street. But here we're also very fortunate because there's no idling of their motors. There's no they just turn off the and we always encourage them anyway. For such, but they just turn it off, come in, they collect, and they go. It's literally in front of the door. So we're very fortunate about it. Yeah, they don't need to go around and look for us, and the deliveries of that's with delivery services. Our deliveries equally we've arranged within the, even we have it in the lease. And we've arranged with estate managers, and we've agreed on most of the suppliers now have keys, so they just come in and drop and they leave, so nothing is left outside and there shouldn't be any disturbance.
Okay, I have a fellow councillor that wants to ask question, please.
Thank you, Chair. Whilst we're talking about deliveries, I wanted to ask you, the applicant, so you have agreed with the police to delay the time that people can come in and buy alcohol to 10 a.m., which is a positive. But I noticed that the delivery of alcohol still starts at 7:30 a.m. So I wanted to ask you, obviously, from your experience of operating in Chelsea, is there a high volume of deliveries? What do people buy in the morning from you, and with alcohol or not alcohol?
No,
We've never sold a single one, let's be honest with you.
in terms of delivery, we don't really sell. Like people don't really buy alcohol for delivery, to be honest.
It might be a good business proposal. I'm joking. No, we haven't sold anything. We main drinks that we do sell is natural juices and coffee. Yeah. You wouldn't imagine people buy. They don't even make coffee at home. So, but no. We would appreciate now that we would have some. While we're talking about off license, that we would have some wine sold in closed bottles. That was agreed with the police as well, in closed bottles, and to take home to consume at the guest leisure. However, we will be more expensive than Tesco, which is next door.
Yeah.
And we are aiming to be a bit less expensive than Sam's, which is down the road. So with equal good quality of wine. So if potentially the residents would like to buy a really good, we have the same supplier as Sam and us. So if they would, but much lower margins. If they would really want to buy a good bottle of wine for a bit less than Sam and want to spend a bit more than Tesco, then yeah. But as agreed with the police, closed in a bottle and sold as that, not no opening the bottles.
Sure. And another question was around some of the representations mentioned the smell of cigarette. I was wondering if your outside sitting area, is that a smoking area? Do you allow smoking? Are you planning on allowing smoking if it's not open yet?
Yeah, the plan is to allow people to smoke unless it became a problem for anybody. So obviously, if we realize that any of the people living here or any other of the guests, if there are more guests bothered by that than people actually enjoying a cigarette, we will stop that. The idea is to allow them to smoke, just because if someone is having lunch inside, someone smoke and wants to have a cigarette outside, we will allow him to sit outside and have a cigarette. If that's not the case, if we realize that he bothers too many people, we will ask him to go by the river or somewhere else. To be honest, it's the being very close by the river is very windy, so I don't think the smell of a cigarette will bother anyone. But that's what we think at the moment. If we realize that it's different and it bothers people, then we will ask them to stop.
Okay, that's good. Robert, about the you mentioned earlier, again, from your experience of operating a business already, you talked about bins and all that stuff around, delivery, bin collection times. Obviously, some of the residents talked to us about that and said, they're worried about hopefully your business becoming successful, but also means that, as you said before, you get 2, 4, 6 bags. What's your current planning to go around, having deliveries at, say, because we're potentially allowing you to open from 6:30, aren't we? Big trucks coming at 6:30 a.m. and collecting rubbish at 11 p.m. What's your plan around that? With
us, we are quite lucky because we actually have a refusal area which has the 2 big compactors and a lot of bins and a lot of and it's underground, so it's not like we would be throwing bags out on the street or something like that. What we've done even so far, that we mainly cleaned something that didn't belong to us on the way, but we completely understand. I completely understand, because even when I walk out of the door, the whole area is, it's made to be, not to be quiet, but on a really low disturbance. So I completely understand that you even look weird when you see like I said before, the guys from Tesco with a big delivery trolley, we agreed also with our with concierge team that if we do have at some point a huge amount of refusal, that we are allowed to use their concierge trolleys. They are like a hotel trolleys with a soft, and those you cannot hear. And we do respect the times from that were mentioned within the one of the representations said from 8 to 8, which is not a problem for us. You know, we even now, if when we did the refurbishment with that, if we notice that we are a bit late, we just don't do it. We do it next morning. You know, the food waste is still good to do that before. However, with current opening times and proposed opening times of the kitchen, we don't expect that should be a problem, because you don't want to keep the bins overnight here, but food bin with the size of this kitchen is honestly it's one. It's so you just grab a bag and you go down and throw it. There's no noise to it. There's no.
And for deliveries, what time are you planning on having your deliveries for stuff coming in?
It's just from 8 on. From 8 on, we've agreed on two of with the estate manager. We've agreed on 2 of the suppliers to come earlier. That is the baker and the milkman, and they have their own keys. And we've agreed with them because they deliver just a box and milk, and they bring it directly in the shop. So again, there's no big trolleys. There's nothing.
I'm interested in. Thank you for providing all this information, and Karen, jump in if you've got information on that. This is around the estate manager thing, which seems to be conditioning quite a few things, such as, you know, you've agreed to not have deliveries before 8, which was one of the residents' concerns. Actually, it's just, Karen, did I miss something, or was it just not by anyone's fault, but was it just not in the papers, all that stuff about how the applicant has arrangements with the estate manager?
Yeah, that wasn't that's a separate arrangement that wasn't part of the pack.
Yeah, because these are, I find them to be positive arrangements that actually address, but you see, that's the value of these hearings, because if you hadn't told us about that, we wouldn't have known. Karen,
sorry.
No, that's all right. I was just going to ask.
Quite a lot is managed by our main head lease as well. You know, within the head lease, it gives us opening times, restrictions, and all this. You know, like I mentioned before with outdoor furniture, because even we don't have our landlord's lease only. We have within our landlord's lease is that we need to adhere to our head lease, which is St. George's lease, and that one was built just for the residents as well, additionally to the, you know, so even opening times were there. Outdoor was until 10. Yes, we agreed until 9. You know, but all this was pre-agreed within the lease as well. We understood all that before we took on the risk to invest in the business.
That's really interesting. Thank you for saying all that. So Karen and Emmanuel, what degree, like, how does that come in, that kind of arrangement with external third parties? But how can we sort of, you know, how can residents raise this if that's not followed? What power do we have as council to sort of enforce those clauses? Is that none at all, or do we have any kind of recourse?
That's between the applicant and as the leaseholder and the landowner. So that's a private rights between them. But what the council can do is anything that you believe relates to the license. Perhaps if you have a condition where you want them to maybe meet with the residents on a biannual basis to discuss any concerns, then that could be added as a condition where they can voice any concerns regarding licensing issues. But in terms of the lease arrangement between them and their landowner, that's a private issue outside of licensing.
Karen, please, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, Karen, you want to say something?
Yeah, so I was just going to add to Emmanuel that whilst they are conditions under their contract with the building, the committee can propose to add these conditions to the license also, which we would then be able to enforce.
And for the applicants, in terms of your current arrangement, obviously, my understanding is you can apply for variations of those. Potentially, if they were under your license, you can apply for variations with the council. But these are arrangements that I find personally, members might disagree, but address many, in fact, of the concerns that have been raised by residents. Would you be okay with us sort of thinking? Well, at least I'm committing on my behalf, not the other members. But is that something you would oppose? Sort of what Karen and Emmanuel have said.
Sorry, committee member, can I stop you there? The question is, have you been able to speak to any of your, have you been able to meet the residents and have talk with them?
For us?
Yes.
I mean, Fabio is
So-
a resident himself, and
Yeah, so if I can explain also how it works for residents. So there is a Fulham Resident Association, and there are some member of the, so basically anybody can raise an issue, will raise within the member of the association. So two of the people that put a word in favor, Michelle McIntosh and Simon, they are actually the president and the spokesperson for the resident association. So basically, what will happen is if someone has any concern, they will speak with them, and they will raise the concern to St. George. So at the moment, basically, anybody was in favor on us. I mean, most of the 600 residents here in Fulham Reach was in favor of us having an alcohol license, because they believe that it's is an improvement, or establishment will be an improvement for the estate.
Okay, thank you. Tony, have you been able to have talk to the applicants? You raised your hands up, or?
Well, so as you probably know, I'm in one of the residents associations, and I speak to the people like Simon and John in the Fulham Reach Residents Association all the time, because I live here. I just make a point that I'm not sure it's valid for Robert and Fabio to say that 600 of the residents of Fulham Reach are in favour. I don't think they've done a survey with 600 responses in favour, so that cannot be taken. So I have, yes, I've spoken to quite a few. There are some residents who actually have recently moved out of that area. Naomi, who, as you know, I run the police ward panel, and one of the residents moved out of the area because of the disturbance and antisocial behaviour. John, who comes along as well to the ward panel every couple of months, has raised an objection. He's very concerned. It's going to be brilliant. You're going to have a lot of chairs in the area there between Regatta Lane and Parrs Way, which is just in front of Tesco's, and it's going to be lively. And I'm really concerned about this free-flowing champagne for 2 hours, and the happy hour stuff. I could see it either being brilliant or a disaster. And to be honest, I'd like to see a few more restrictions to make sure it's the former and not the latter. But yes, I've spoken to a lot of them, as I do. I know that surprises you, but I do. I speak to them.
Thank you, Tony. But I must tell you that we have got we had representation from the Tenants Association, and they withdraw their objections. So that's for you to know as well. Can I have Councillor Fabian to speak?
Thank you, Chair. So this is to go back to the question which was to the applicant, in following up with what we heard from the legal officer, from the licensing officer, Emmanuel and Karen, which is around the idea that your lease agreement sort of, at least for myself, sort of it's good, seems to be giving us more reassurances about your operations, and are addressing some of the, if not many of the comments submitted by residents. The suggestion there was to add a condition, so adding something into your license that says, you know, you would potentially have to speak to residents on a regular basis. Also, the head of terms is something that you would need to apply with us for variations. So that means that potentially, for instance, that where you've committed to not having deliveries before 8 with your landlord, that means that to change that, you would have to ask us as well. Is that something that is acceptable to you?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, there is no problem with that, because
We have so far we use 3-4 suppliers, and a part of the delivery service that everyone uses, DPD, Parcel Force, and the postal office. You know, otherwise those they usually come late, but they come to every single resident. While with us, our delivery service, we don't mind that. I mean, now for these two, we've agreed. But
Thank you.
Thank you. But can I have the legal advisor to advise on certain things here, please?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just to clarify, we can't have a condition that says they have to speak to us before they make changes in terms of the lease. What we can do is have a condition, for example, saying that they would not carry out the trash between a certain period of time, and if there's any changes, then there'll have to be an application to vary the license before we can basically make any changes in that sense. So if there's a change for lease conditions, then that's a separate issue to licensing.
If I can, on that, Karen, I had a different interpretation from them about what you said. So did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, so I think what Emmanuel's saying is that in relation to conditions on the lease, that is separate. If the committee are minded to add conditions in relation to, for example, deliveries at certain times, and that does change and they can't no longer abide by that condition, they would have to submit a minor variation to amend that condition.
Yeah, but gotcha. Thank you.
Please, committee member, do you have any more questions? Okay, and I'm going to go into summing up. And can I have the licensing officer to sum up? And you have 3 minutes.
I have nothing further to add, Chair. Thank you.
Okay. And can I have the resident, Tony, to sum up with 3 minutes on everything that's been said, what you want?
Yeah, as I said, it could go well. I'm quite pleased to see looks like a nice, well-run cafe going into this corner. I'm very concerned that they're going to be having outside tables in that area at the junction of Parsway and Regatta Lane. I could see that becoming a bottleneck, and I'm really concerned about the idea of endless champagne and happy hour, and it will become. There have been antisocial incidents in that area just outside Tesco's already, as Fabio will know. So I'm still concerned. I would like to see a better level of these conditions that Florian suggested, which tie into the license restrictions about how they operate, what they do in terms of any rowdy behaviour. And actually, I'd like to see them offer to not operate bottomless bubbles, endless champagne on that site. I think that's not a sensible thing to do right now.
Thank you, Tony. Can I have the applicants? Which of you is going to sum up? 3 minutes, you're allowed.
Yeah, just to address the last few points, as Mr. Boyce, I think what he refers to is people drinking by the river, which is mostly like young kids buying alcohol in Tesco. And in that sense, we are obviously much more expensive than Tesco. So if anybody wants to really get drunk by the river, they will go to Tesco to buy cheap beer. They wouldn't come to us spending £20 for a bottle of wine. As I said, we are mostly a neighbor cafe and a neighbor restaurant. Our main focus is food, and as I mentioned, the sale of alcohol will just be complementary to food. So we don't think there will be any issue with like people getting drunk or disturbing. And again, in terms of like stopping the flow, actually there is like a private area just outside which doesn't stop anybody from going by the river. So I don't think the outdoor table, which also the bakery next to us wouldn't stop like the flow of people going by the river.
Respecting the licensing objectives. And we will be respecting all 4 licensing objectives. That's why we are applying for that, and it is quite a crucial part of our business to make it a success. Otherwise, we wouldn't be making enough of to pay the rent and everything.
Thank you. Yeah, 3 minutes is off. Okay. The committee will now take a decision in a separate room, and you are welcome to remain in the meeting to hear the committee's decision. However, this might take some time. If you don't want to wait, a summary decision will be published on Council's website tomorrow morning. So I'm going to say thank you to all of you, and can wait for the deliberation when we come out. Otherwise, we see you.
Thank you.
I'll head off. Thanks so much, Mercy. Lovely to see you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Charles, while we're just waiting for Councillor Ume to return, can I just check you got the name that I sent through for the 24th of October?
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Excellent. Sorry for the delay.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Jay, can you put your camera on, please?
I try, I cannot. It's not allowing me. Can you see me?
We had you for a brief second, Chair. Now you're gone again. Oh, you're now. Yep.
Okay. I would like to thank everyone for joining the meeting again. The summary decision of the license subcommittee, 13th September 2023, Charlotte Claus, Units E, Distillery Wharf, Regatta Lane, London West 6, 9BF, the premises. The committee has considered an application for new premises license for the sale of alcohol both on and off the premises under the Licensing Act 2003. The application, in summary, the committee has decided, after taking into account all the individual circumstances of the case and promotion of 4 licensing objectives, to 1, grant the application for the new lease with conditions agreed by the applicant, the police, and the noise and nuisance team. This license become operational with immediate effect. If problems are experienced, then an application for review of the premises license can be made. A copy of the committee's full decision, including its reason and the full text of the condition added to the license, will be sent to the parties forthwith. If applicant is unhappy with the decision, they are entitled to appeal to the magistrate court within 21 days from the date of notification of the full license. I would like to thank everyone attending or watching tonight's meeting. A summary decision will be published on council website tomorrow. That's end of the meeting. Thank you everyone for coming.